Welcome back to Never Enough Novels. Today I am sharing a whole slew of book mail that I got recently. There are a wide variety of romances in here, so I'm excited to share them all with you. Make sure you hit like and subscribe so that you can see more videos like this in the future. And I'm going to link all of these books down below, so if you find any that you're interested in, you can purchase them from Amazon and help support this channel. First up is Can't Help Falling in Love by Sophie Sullivan. As you can see, I already started reading this because I couldn't wait to dive in. It is a fall-themed romance, so it is just perfect for this time of year. Our main character is Lexi, and she's been having a rough day at her waitressing job, and she ends up sitting down with a very handsome customer to pretend that he is her boyfriend when a group of her former friends from high school walk into her restaurant. So Lexi doesn't really have her life together and has some things in the past that have made things pretty tough for her, but the guy that she sat down with, Will, turns out to be this just genuinely nice guy, and they kind of hit it off. But Will has some issues of his own. He is basically the heir to this really big corporation, and as he gets put on this new project, it's basically implied that he needs to show that he has settled down. So Will and Lexi agree to get into a fake engagement to help them both out. Obviously, with this trope, we always know that things that start out fake can sometimes end up real, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they manage that within this story. Also, apparently there are just going to be a ton of fall activities involved. The story immediately starts off in this season, and I think a lot of their dates are going to end up being at apple picking or, outdoor breweries and things like that. So I'm excited for that part as well. Switching from fall to Christmas, this is the time of year when a lot of publishers start releasing their Christmas novels late September, early October, so that readers can start buying them or getting them as gifts if they want to get ready for the season. So I received Kiss Me at Christmas by Jenny Bayliss, and this is an author who has become known for releasing a new Christmas novel each year, and I have loved them in the past, so I'm really excited to dive into this one as well. I love that our main character, Harriet, is actually a middle-aged protagonist. So instead of someone in their early 20s or mid-20s, we've got an older woman who has a daughter in college. So for Harriet, her daughter has decided to spend Christmas in New York this year instead of with her, so she's feeling less than enthusiastic about the upcoming season. And one of the ways she dealt with that is having an unexpected one-night stand. So she's never expecting to see this guy again, but of course, as we know in our romance novels, things don't always work out that way. Later on, when Harriet takes the fall for some of her students who broke into this local theater in her town, she ends up volunteering to become the director of the theater's final Christmas performance. And who does she find at the theater as the owner's lawyer? Her one-night stand. So all of a sudden, Harriet is finding herself directing a play as well as dealing with this lawyer who she slept with not very long ago. It sounds like there's a lot going on with this one, and it should be full of holiday spirit, so I'm really excited to dive into it. The other Christmas book that arrived in the mail is Once Upon a December by Amy Reichert. So this is not a new Christmas book for this year, but it's one that I read previously and had recommended to my mom, and she loved it so much that she wanted her own copy. So I went on Pengo Books for her, which is a phenomenal app for buying and selling books. This one was really cheap. It was $3. So I got it for her, and it just arrived in the mail. And of course, it arrived, and then I turned around and looked at my shelves and realized I already had a copy of it. Please tell me I'm not the only one who does this, doesn't realize what books you actually own and end up buying more than one copies of the same book. Please tell me I'm not the only one. So, I just had to laugh when I saw this on my shelves and realized that I just bought a copy for no reason, but I guess now I have a copy and my mom will have her own copy, so that's something. The book is really good. I highly recommend it. It's got a lot of Christmassy stuff going on. So our main character, Astra Noel Snow, which, come on, how perfect is that for a Christmas romance? She meets this guy at her town's local Christmas market, but there's a catch. The guy who works the one stand at the Christmas market, it's got a magical aspect where he and his family and the other people that are part of the market end up going to different places around the world, each December. So whenever they end up finishing one Christmas market, the magic takes them to another December right away, and they start up again for a month. So they're constantly jumping from place to place, and within time to go to all these different places around the world like throughout the year, but it's always December for them. So as a result, he's not permanently in this place and doesn't know when he will come back. So these two start up this romance kind of over a couple of years. Like they keep coming back into each other's lives and are trying to figure out if this is something real. Should he leave the market so he can be with her full time, or should she try to join him within this magical world that they're living in? It's very cute and sweet. There's like very low spice, which is why I recommended it to my mother. But it was just like an all-around perfect like Hallmark quality Christmas book. And that's, again, Once Upon a December. Stepping away from the Christmas romances or the fall-themed romances, I've got a classic hockey romance for you next, and that is Pucked by Helena Hunting. This is actually an older book that's getting a reprint. It was the first in her Pucked series, and I think there's 8 books in the series now. So if you like hockey romances, and particularly like her writing in general, then you'll have tons of books to read. Pucked is like a classic brothers best friend / teammate type scenario. So our main character is the stepsister of a hockey player, and one of his teammates is Alex Waters, who is like one of the faces of hockey. He's like a classic pro athlete and she has no interest in him. But of course, something changes and she starts to get to know Alex, and they start talking books together, which I thought was a really fun twist. And as she starts to get to know him, she realizes that he's not quite exactly the image that he portrays to the world. Things escalate from there and turn into one very steamy night that, despite her efforts, she can't forget about. And Alex continues to text her and call her and email her and send her gifts, and is just overall wooing the heck out of her. So although she has no interest in starting any sort of relationship with him, she can't deny that his persistence and the sweetness and his thoughtfulness are really getting to her. The reason this is re-releasing is because it's got a nice new cover. The first edition is actually out now, and it has sprayed edges that look absolutely gorgeous. So I'm thinking about getting a copy of that as well, just to have the actual sprayed edges, because I'm a sucker for those. But I'm really excited to try out this series as well. I've been addicted to hockey romances lately, and I know Helena Hunting is just like one of the best in the business at that genre. And the last book I'm going to share today is called Book of the Month by Jennifer Probst. I was actually kind of interested in this because of the title. If you haven't heard, like Book of the Month is one of probably the most famous subscription boxes out there right now. It's wonderful for readers because you can choose from a variety of options each month, and they do a great job picking new releases that are really intriguing from a variety of different genres. If you're interested in trying out that subscription box, I'll put the link down below so you can get your first book for only $5. They're always hardcover, and like I said, the selection is fantastic. Again, though, this book has nothing to do with that. It just reminded me of it because of the title. But honestly, the concept of this romance sounds really interesting as well. It's based on like a famous author, so someone you would probably see in that Book of the Month subscription. But this author has had her first book go like absolutely nuts because it was a literary bestseller that was based on like a significant heartbreak for her. So I think a lot of readers connected with that, and now they're clamoring for more. But the author doesn't have another book up her sleeve because she doesn't have another heartbreak experience to rely on. So she decides to create one of her own and basically get this heartthrob in her town to like fall for her and then break her heart so that she can come up with her second novel. But the guy isn't playing along with her, so he keeps like refusing her advances and refusing to get involved with her for a long amount of time. But she discovers some information about his grandfather's company that he wants to keep afloat, that it's on the verge of bankruptcy. And for some reason, she convinces him to fake this like whirlwind summer romance and then break up and have this big drama-filled thing. I think maybe hoping for like more publicity for his company or just to get the name out there. So he reluctantly agrees to this deal. So once again, we've got our fake romance that turns more as the lines start to blur between what is real and what is fake for both of them. This was just a great month for book mail. Obviously, there are so many romances that I'm excited to get into and can't wait to read. And hopefully you found one that looks interesting for you as well. Let me know in the comments if you have any good book mail that you received lately or which one of these I should start reading first.